Warm welcome to Disky Talk with Liolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, we discuss all things Kaizer Chiefs and Reeve Frosler, as Reeve Frosler is in the last 6 months of his contract. So, he is then able to start having talks with other teams and potentially then sign a pre-contract. So when you have a look at it then, Reeve Frosler does play as a fullback. This is a player then who is quite versatile, but the position he frequently plays is right back. So when you have a look at him then this is a player then who, from a qualitative perspective, ticks so many boxes offensively, because then he does have the technical ability to deliver those balls into the box. He does then also look to overlap and offer that width going forward for Kaizer Chiefs. And this is a player then for Kaizer Chiefs. He has been doing well, but as of late, we do know that Unjabulo Blom has made that position his very own. And it's been very difficult then for Reeve Frosler to break into this Kaizer Chiefs side, because Jabulo Blom currently, in my opinion, is the best right back in the league. And when you do have a look at Reeve Frosler, I think this is a quality player. I do think, though, that when it comes to defending, that's where his weakness is. That's his weak point. That's something that he struggles with. However, I always do feel that players can improve. And when you have a look at it, then I think that if the technical team could work on those things at training with him and just work on his body orientation and also him as a player, working then to be able to improve his decision making in defensive areas, and also then looking to read the game better. Because I think if he improves those things, then he could very well become a complete fullback, because then going forward offensively, he'd tick that box, and then from a defensive perspective, he'd also tick that box. But the defensive side of his game is something that he really needs to work on. However, at times we have seen Kaizer Chiefs use a back three, and whenever then they do use a back three, I think then that is the perfect position for him. You know, I do think that he's one of those few players within South Africa who could play as a right wing back adequately, because, you know, when he is in that position within vertical zone 5, he does offer that width. And going forward, you know, he delivers some quality balls for this Kaizer Chiefs side, and he can create those chances. However, he does find himself in the last 6 months of his contract. So very interesting times ahead then to see, will he extend with Kaizer Chiefs, or will he potentially leave the club, you know? And when we have a look at it then and have a look at other clubs within the DStv Premiership, you know, so you've got a Mamelodi Sundowns and you've got an Orlando Pirates. Those are the other two teams that I could potentially see him going to. However, he can also then go to Europe. Maybe his agent is working on something for him in Europe, as, you know, this is a quality player then, and a player that I feel that if with the right team around him, then he can get a good deal, you know, and also considering the fact that he'd be a free agent, you know, so there would be no transfer fee. It would just be the signing on fee and his salary as well. And when we have a look at it then, from a Mamelodi Sundowns perspective, Mamelodi Sundowns in that position, they've got Mudau and they've got Murena, who are currently at the club. And when you have a look at those two right backs then, those are right backs then who have different qualities, you know, and when you have a look at Reeve Frosler, you know, and why I wouldn't be surprised if you were to go to Mamelodi Sundowns and if they snapped him up, is because Mamelodi Sundowns do then like having strength and depth, and they do then also like having a plethora of options, you know, in various positions. And when you consider the fact that Reeve Frosler then is currently 24 years old, I stand to be corrected, and Thapelo Morena is 28, then you're looking at a player then who could always then take over from a Thapelo Morena going forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did end up at Mamelodi Sundowns. And I also think that to a certain degree, he would suit that aggressive offensive style that Mamelodi Sundowns do like to institute, especially considering the fact that at Mamelodi Sundowns it is then the fullbacks that look to give the width, because when you have a look at it then they would play with 2 number 10, so they play a 4-2-2-2. So you'd have a Mayema in this example coming in, you'd have Lila K going, you'd have a Zwane coming into that half space, and then that's where you could potentially have Frosler looking then to overlap for this Kaizer Chiefs side. For this Mamelodi Sundowns side. That's if he did sign. And then when you have a look at it then, there's also Orlando Pirates. But with Orlando Pirates, I don't necessarily think though that he could go to Orlando Pirates. I think there'd be more of a chance of him going to Sundowns than Orlando Pirates. When you have a look at Orlando Pirates, I say that because he's a very similar player to a Wade Euster then. So I don't think that they'd go like for like. But there's also a possibility because he is a lot younger than a Wade Euster, and he's got that quality as well. And when you have a look at it then, Orlando Pirates in that right back position, you know, they do have Bandile Shandu that they've just signed. They do have Wade Euster as well. But I do feel like that is a position where they could look to strengthen and maybe get a right back then who is a lot more balanced, who ticks both sides of the coin with regards to the offensive side of the game and the defensive side of the game. But that's it within the DStv Premiership. I think those are the 2 teams that he could potentially go to. There's Cape Town City as well, where when you have a look at Cape Town City, you've got Umkhize, who is coming to the end of his career as well. So maybe then Cape Town City could look to sign him, you know. Very interesting times ahead when it comes to Reeve Frosler and the decision that he is looking to make. But if I am Kaizer Chiefs, then I would give him a new contract because I think that this is a quality player and a player then who can improve his defensive side of the game. And it's always paramount then if you're building a side that's looking to challenge, building a side that's looking to compete on all fronts and looking to get into CAF Champions League, then you need that strength in depth. And when you have Njabulo Plom and you also have a Frosler, then I think that right back department for Kaizer Chiefs would be sorted. However, it remains to be seen as to what will happen with Reeve Frosler. At home, do let me know, what do you make of Reeve Frosler? Do you think that he will sign a contract extension at Kaizer Chiefs, or do you foresee him joining another team within the DStv Premiership? And if it's the DStv Premiership, which team do you see him joining? If it's not the DStv Premiership, do you see him going abroad? Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Liolo. If it was the first time that you watched this and you really enjoyed it, please do subscribe, like, and comment, as this is a channel that serves to bring the best quality when it comes to football content. Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Liolo. Signing out.